English translation, 271st contact. Saturday, 13th March, 1999, 8 Gallows hours.
Hi, dear friend. You did not have to come that fast. Even in the afternoon, it would have been early enough.
But it sounded as if it was urgent. Greetings.
I would like to hear your opinion about the witness video film made with some of the group members. If you have enough time, you should watch the work for the next 75 minutes.
I can do that because for the next 2 hours I will be available from my work.
Well, here's the video. Freddy took it from the hall over there. I can put it in the video editing room in the recorder for you to watch. I have seen it twice myself, so I do not have to be there and can have a cup of coffee in the kitchen over there. Hopefully you will not get bored on your own and watch the video to the end. I feel the need to hear your opinion about it.
I will endeavor to correspond to your request.
Well then, come now so I can insert the video for you. I will come back after 75 minutes.
So be it.
Well, have you formed an opinion about the video?
I did, but my evaluation is not pleasant. Because the whole thing is for the most part absolutely unreasonable for those interested in the facts and in the mission, as well as in facts worth mentioning. The speakers not only lack the art of recounting, but they also stutter in part incoherently, talk a lot, and thus say nothing, whereby everything becomes torn and partly incomprehensible. In certain attempts to explain events that have taken place, everything becomes so complicated that no sense or actual action can be recognized from it. A bad job and an extremely unfortunate thing that would do more harm than clarification and success. The video should really be made available to the public, but this is not advisable. In addition to the inadequate statements and explanations, there are also various inconsistencies and ill-considered remarks, etc. to be criticized about this work, which create an extremely alarming impression with regard to your person and the mission, and put the whole thing as well as your position and your actions in an extremely wrong and murky light.
Pow. So it was a catastrophe, as I already told the group members. I did not want to tell you my opinion before you saw and judged the video yourself. Also, several group members, after seeing the video, feel that it is useless and only ridicules the whole group and the mission.
This should be true, because frankly, the whole thing is not only extremely flawed, but really useless to serve the mission. The video should be destroyed and replaced by one that is really useful and good, with the witnesses called having to rehearse a written concept beforehand in order to be able to tell their experiences fluently, in a form that ensures that they are not choppy and everything is explained in such a manner that it is actually relevant and understandable. This video, however, does not meet these requirements in any wise, because it seems that everything has been done in quick steps, without the necessary care, which is necessary for a good work and takes a lot of time and repetition.
I agree with this view, but so do various members of the group. Besides, it is a pity for the money that is wasted senselessly for copying and for the cassettes and covers, because the videos were already made by a company responsible for it. This causes considerable damage to the group. Several group members are also outraged that the video was copied so prematurely before it was shown to the whole group, so that the individual members could comment on it. Some who appear in the video also find that they appear to be extremely bad, both in their language and in their poor presentation and explanation, which is why they cannot give their consent to the work.
Which is understandable.
What should we do with the videos now? Throw them out or what?
In any case, they should not be brought into the public, because there is too much at stake. Destroying the videos would probably be the closest thing, even if it would cause considerable financial damage.
Good. I will tell the group, and they will have to decide. So let us move on from this topic, because if it is possible for you in terms of time, then I still have 3 or 4 questions to ask.
Of course, there is still enough time for that.
Well, then this. I saw a TV show that explained that various scientists had recognized the harmful effect of too much hygiene on the body.
This is true, because excessive hygiene weakens the immune system and makes the body susceptible to disease, especially in relation to allergies. Healthy hygiene does not mean sterility, but simply purity, which is achieved with pure water and without chemical aids, etc., and which also allows foreign substances into the body through the pores, which are attacked by the immune system and transformed into disease defense factors. In this form, the immune system can strengthen itself and create necessary defensive moments against all kinds of diseases. So said in simple form.
Cleaning the body with pure water is therefore not harmful. The factor of harmfulness lies only in the chemical means used for cleansing.
That is right.
There should be nothing more to say. Then the next question. Since time immemorial, people on Earth have been of the opinion that cat skins are particularly suitable against rheumatism. Is that really true? In different countries, as for example in China and Indonesia, as well as in Germany, etc., masses and millions of cats are tortured to death as a result of this opinion, in the cruelest way, in order to produce allegedly rheumatism-reducing cat blankets and other things made of cat fur. Similar things appear in relation to rhinoceros horns and tiger claws and tiger penises, etc., in relation to sexual potency, etc.
All in all, everything corresponds to such unbelievable nonsense that one must doubt the mind of those who are addicted to these views and opinions. With regard to rheumatism, a warm wool rag or other warming material performs the same service as a cat fur, which truly has no special rheumatism-relieving properties, just as rhinoceros horns or tiger claws and tiger penises have no potency-promoting properties.
You promised to tell me how many people in the USA have been sentenced to death in the last 25 years without committing the crime charged against them.
I have complied with your request and found out in clarification that during the last 25 years, 114 people have been sentenced to death in the USA without being guilty of the crime charged against them.
About 70 to 80% of Americans are vehement death penalty criers supporters who, in my opinion, are always guilty at all costs and want to see them executed, no matter whether the convicted person is guilty of the crime they are accused of or not. The death penalty ballers are irresponsibly bloodthirsty in my mind, who enjoy the death of another person and find satisfaction in it in various forms. That hatred and vindictiveness play just as big a role as irresponsible and inhuman self-assertion, is only mentioned incidentally.
Your words correspond to the given facts, but there are also several other factors to consider. What I would like to say, however, is something that refers to the video or to the statements of the group members who repeatedly refer to you for explanations of their experiences and constantly say that they have asked you for your opinion, whereupon you again should have made an explanation. This is very unfortunate and poor, because it gives the impression that the corresponding group members themselves are not rational enough to make their own judgments about something they have experienced and about certain events. And since they always state that they then asked you about an explanation and received a corresponding answer from you, the impression also arises that these and all other group members are dependent on you and in bondage to you. This in turn leads certain hostile people to the guru image which they make of you and which they then spread. Also, with regard to the consumption of alcohol at festive occasions, some things are partly such that the impression of alcoholism and senseless drinking and even drunkenness can arise. These are facts which are extremely regrettable and may not appear in an informative video. And it should be about useful information if such a work is made and distributed. Yes, and what is more to say is, when an interview is conducted, the interviewing person must behave in such a manner that questions emanate from him or her, to which the interviewee in turn can give his or her answers. It is therefore not correct how the whole thing was handled in this respect, and accordingly the interviewees simply had to talk and got tangled up in trifles and embarrassments.
That is what I noticed, and different group members noticed as well.
That was all I had to say about the video.
Then I can ask the rest of my questions?
Yes, of course.
So, there are many people on the earth who always talk about a third eye that used to be human, or that is still hidden behind the forehead today. I know that these assumptions and assertions are absolute nonsense, because the human being of Earth has never possessed a third eye, and also has none in any visible or invisible form behind the forehead, because the entire anatomy of the human being of Earth is not created for it. Even a spiritual third eye does not exist and has never existed. However, there were and are human life forms that have 3 eyes, with the third eye above the root of the nose in the forehead. But this is only the case with the so-called cyclops, where the third eye corresponds to a normal visual organ, but not to a spiritual eye. In ignorance of the concerns of the spiritual teachings, people always speak of a spiritual eye, which is supposed to be placed on or behind the forehead, but truthfully this is not an eye, but the area of the spirit consciousness, which is mistakenly called spiritual eye. If one goes from the forehead into the brain, no signs of a material or spiritual eye can be detected in any way, but only the fact that the pineal gland or epiphysis is located deep in the brain and at approximately the same level as the root of the nose.
That is correct. But why are you telling me this? Do you have a special question?
No, I just wanted to have it officially mentioned and confirmed by you for all those people who are interested. But now one more question about nanotechnology, which has now become known on the Earth. As you explained to me, you also work with nanotechnology and even in much finer and more tiny areas, which are called subatomic and ultra-nano realms, or subatomic and ultra-nano realms respectively. But this also refers to biology and medicine, and also to the fact that through these forms of technology, any matter can be transformed into another, such as lead into gold, as the old alchemists always tried to do. Are you allowed to tell me more about the subatomic as well as the nano and ultra-nano technology, also with regard to your respective technology in the spaceships? Drew, oh dear Billy, thank you very much for sending the 271st contact report yesterday. I must confess that reading Patah's explanations regarding the eyewitness video made me sweat out of my pores, partly out of shame, and partly because I realized that he hit the nail on the head with all his explanations. I can explain the haste of the production timely delivery of an interview film for Hans's lecture on the 4th weekend in March, as well as taking advantage of the favorable offer for the printing of the video cover by Bernadette's acquaintance, etc. But I have to realize retrospectively that the quick request for copying after your viewing of the video has now turned out to be wrong. Since I feel somehow guilty about the whole affair, I would be prepared to ensure that the Figu does not suffer any financial damage from the whole affair, which means that I will pay the FAR. One the 374.00 copying cost myself, and consequently one can destroy the 200 video cassettes with a clear conscience. In my opinion, this would clear the way for a constructive approach to the situation, which means that those involved can make an effort to learn the appropriate lessons from everything. As a further procedure, I propose the written eyewitness reports of the core group 49 members collected by you, or still to be collected, are professionally transcribed into good German, concentrated in their statements and supplemented where necessary, etc. Afterwards, the eyewitnesses have to rehearse their text so that they can speak it fluently and easily into the camera. The recordings should take place without deadline pressure and at previously agreed undisturbed locations. I imagine that the matter has caused some emotional waves in the meantime, which hopefully can be smoothed out again with this letter, and certainly also through a discussion at the next Core Group 49 General Assembly in April, all the more so that no damage has been done to the Figu E. But rather the opportunity has opened up for some Core Group members to learn something new. Sahlomi Trogan, 14th March 1990.
Original letter, page 1.
It seems to me that this question was addressed to you by someone.
No, that is not the case because I am asking out of my own interest.
Sorry, but your question about such things is completely unusual, which is why I assumed you were asking on behalf of someone else. No, officially I am not allowed to make any statements or explanations, but for your own use or for your own knowledge I can explain everything you are interested in.
Thank you, then we would better leave it alone, because then I cannot accidentally say anything. Maybe another time. And with that I asked all the questions.
Then I would like to say goodbye now.
Greetings, please, and I should also greet you from some group members, by the way.
Thank you very much, and please return the greetings.